When I got out of prison, okay, I started to see the hypocrisy in claiming to care about some animals while eating a dead one.
One place deer seem to continue to be is on farmland, and one thing they continue to do is cause damage. To help alleviate the problem, the DNR has revised one of their deer management tools.
I changed because I felt that I was not an evil person. I didn't want to be cruel to animals, but when I realised I was, that there was a piece of an animal on my plate, I felt like a hypocrite.
This year, one of the major changes that's there is revolved around the crop damage permits, which are available to landowners who have a demonstrated level of crop damage.
And I didn't want to be a hypocrite. I wanted to practice what I preach.
Instead of just having 3 allowed shooters on a permit, you can now have up to 15 designated shooters. That's to provide a greater number of people to address the crop damage problems on a specific area outside of hunting season.
I want you to remember that feeling of being a hypocrite.
And we encourage landowners to work with hunters in the area or to meet new hunters, invite them on your property to assist in the management of the antlerless side of the population.
Use that in your activism. Why do you avoid that in your activism? Don't be shy. That's what changed me.
We did get the deer damage permits. We have used them on our farm, and they have been very effective in curbing damage in localized areas.
You either go vegan or you continue for this cruelty in your life, which is bad, yeah?
Most recently, I had a 50-acre field of soybeans with about 30 deer camped out there all day.
It's really hard for them to justify something that's obviously so cruel and unjustified, yeah.
By removing 6 or 7 of them, we were able to...
I know we're all different. We all have our own styles. Some are softer spoken, some are more polite, some are more about peace and love. We've got one thing in common though. We think animal abuse is atrocious.
Disperse the herd and stop the damage.
The Dietz's experience in working with the DNR has given them an appreciation for what it takes to effectively deal with the matter of deer crop damage.
Now what changed you? What changed you into an ethical vegan? It was the animals, hey?
Most recently, when we did receive our last damage permits, we received them within 3 or 4 working days, and that was very helpful in minimizing the damage we had with our crops.
I don't want to pay for something I'm morally against. I don't want to be a hypocrite. I don't want to be an animal abuser.
To schedule a visit by a DNR wildlife biologist to your farm to assess crop damage, visit their website for a complete listing of wildlife offices across the state.
No, I didn't want to be a human abuser. I don't want to hurt people either. I was a hypocrite across the board, trust me. More than anyone.
And I've got my crop permit. We're about to go smoke some deer in this field. Going to kill a few of them.
This evolution that I had all come from self-realization. Hey, you're in gangs, you're doing bad things, your mum's crying, you've hurt your family, everyone's scared of you, you've got a piece of an animal on your plate that was tortured and killed.
And you can tell from the sign that deer are destroying this field. You know, I'm a deer hunter, and I like to hunt them during deer season, but I do understand the importance of managing the herd a little bit. So when the farmer asks me, I am more than obliged to help out.
Animals did nothing wrong to me, all right? Nothing at all. That was a realization for me. That's what motivated me to change.
With the permit, I'm only allowed to kill antlerless deer, so I'm going after the does.
Not any other animal like that. They don't want to die. They're scared. Yeah.
One factor that should not be limiting your earnings is wildlife crop damage. White-tailed deer specifically can ravage crops and
they want to be protected and cared for like nothing.
And significantly impact yields of soybeans, corn, wheat, and
the next minute they get dragged out and they're suffocating, and then they're being, so when you look at it from the victim's point of view.
By leasing your farmland to hunters, you can generate a side income while also controlling the deer population.
Obviously, I do it my way, and you'll do it your way.
And you benefit from increased yields and an easy income source.
But you have to make that person feel responsible. You have to speak to that part in their heart that knows this is wrong, and you have to lead them to the realization that they're causing it.
Alright, well, we're up here in Michigan again. It's nuisance season, crop damage permits, on some deer, putting stealth shades to the test.
You have to do that. Otherwise, it's just an interesting thought. Oh wow, they made me think. No. You don't want to make them think. You don't make them feel responsible.
Trying to see how close we can get. We really wanted to use a crossbow at minus yardage, basically, but you got to use a shotgun or a rifle, so we'll take it.
The blood is on your hands.
Well, I had a phone call, like you do, from the farmer. He's got a lot of rooks and stuff in the area, especially on this field, there's a lot of pigeons.
Okay, I'm not asking you to swear and be blunt and do what I do. Do it in your own way, all right? Because we're all different. But make sure you never forget that this individual here is paying for something they're against and they don't know yet. See,
You know, there's a good reason why we come out and shoot pigeons.
the knife is in the hand of the consumer. You're paying for them to be killed. There's no way around it.
I mean, at the end of the day, it's to help keep the food prices down.
Save everyone a bunch of time and hassle, okay? Stop pandering.
But you get sort of 300 or 400 pigeons feeding on a field of barley, you know, for a few days. The money they've lost is thousands. I mean...
Yeah, I think I fell into the trap of pandering a little bit too much because I thought that that was the way. I realised that I was wasting everyone's time. Their time, my time, the animals' time. I just want to be direct.
They have to be shot. They've got to be controlled. There's no two ways about it, you know.
You might have 5 minutes to talk to this person. Only 5 minutes. You might have 1 minute. You have to make them feel responsible for what's on the screen in 1 minute. Are you going to talk about this and that issue and that? No, keep it focused on the victims.
Left alone, within sort of 3 or 4 years, the pigeon population will be astronomical. It's going to put farmers out of business, raise food prices to a stupid amount.
Well, who's it harder for? That's why, if it's hard, it's not hard for me to be a vegan because I look at it from the animal's perspective, not my own.
Yeah.
Those of you that don't know, red tag is a deer control area to help farmers who have crops that are getting destroyed by deer.
And it's easy when you look at it from their eyes. Yeah. Put them in the victim's position. How would you like it? If you were being held against your will, raped, have your children taken and stabbed to death at the end of it and turned into a burger, digested and flushed down the toilet.
Welcome back to another hog hunting video with Bobby Hills Outdoors. Me and Jesse are going to head on out here to the cornfields.
Is that not animal abuse? How would you feel? Put the onus on them. Help them understand what it's like to be a victim.
Well, we got the guys from North Texas Crop Protection coming on later in the show. They're going to be talking about how they got started. They've kind of been blowing up on Instagram, so we've been seeing a bunch of them, pictures of them killing hogs. So we're going to find out from them how they got started into thermal hog hunting, why they're doing it.
The alien's going to come down and do the same to us.
Maybe then we'll learn. Maybe then people will learn what it feels like to be a victim, you know.
Farm manager Andy Crowe shoots pigeons as if his life depends on it. These high-flying crop chompers do a lot of damage at all times of the year.
Alright, because many people here, they wouldn't have the first clue about what it's like to be a victim. I know what it's like. I've had a gun to my head. I know what it's like to stare down the barrel of a gun. I know what it's like to be held hostage. I've seen it happen.
And that has an impact on Andy's bottom line. So he spent most of his life trying to keep them off his fields.
Okay? But many people here don't know what it's like to be a victim, so it's hard for them to look at it through the victim's eyes. You've got to help them. You've got to help them understand what it's like to be pushed into a gas chamber, to use empathy.
Today, Andy has built 2 hides on a field of oilseed rape. One for him, the other for his wingman, cousin Gary. They work as a team because 4 eyes are better than 2.
If you've only got 5 minutes, choose your words carefully, okay? Don't spend your time talking about this climate and health and all these things. Focus on what the knife that's been shoved into the animal's jugular. But for me, the issue is through the eyes of the animals. They are being tortured and harmed.
I want to take a minute to show you our Sweeney's Mole and Gopher poison peanut pellets.
The issue for me is animal rights, and for the animals it's for their own freedom.
In a Gloucester field, pest controller Andrew Beddoes and friends are tooling up at the farmer's invitation.
We've got some wood pigeons that are attacking a field of rape.
You know, like Gary said, one of the best things he ever said is always speak for the animals. Hey, you would want to be spoken for if you were in their position.
But what have the pigeons done to deserve this sort of treatment?
Well, you can see as far as the eye goes, it's been hit by pigeon. There should be leaves. There should be leaves on. And you can see it's been pecked at.
And that's exactly how I want you to speak for the animals, and that's what they deserve.
And it is crop protection is what we're doing.
I'm doing it for food. Yeah,
right.
I'm starving. Yeah.
This is animal rights activism in Sydney, and they're showing what happens to animals for meat, dairy and eggs and other industries that exploit and kill animals.
We're heading to a rape field that should be in full yellow blossom, but it's been eaten away, and if it isn't protected soon, it will be gone completely. Gary's laid out decoys to convince passing birds it's safe to land.
The outreaches will talk to the public and show them how they're actually causing this to happen.
Well, there's various reasons under the general licence to dispatch wood pigeons and shoot wood pigeons. But for the purpose of decoying, we're generally doing it for crop protection.
Okay, so the responsibility is on the consumer. They're paid for these horrible industries, and most people have a good heart. They don't want to abuse and be cruel to animals.
It's late January, and because he's had a herd of up to 80 fallow deer chewing on his young rape, he's had to employ some new tactics.
So we're showing them how they are, but how they don't know about it yet, so that they can change.
People might watch this and say, oh, he's feeding them, he's encouraging them to come to his land. No, I'm not. I'm encouraging them to come to where I can shoot them.
So thank you everyone, keep up the amazing work, and always use the animals to motivate you too.
Sporting shooter chef Mark is going to be riding high with his Maxus semi-auto to sort out the rabbits as they make for the field margins.
Is the pig shooting you down? Has the chicken done anything wrong to you? No, they're still being victimised.
Well, the plan is that we've got a bit of 16 acres of rape here we're just going to cut. It's on our boundary. I can shoot the rabbits on my ground, no problem at all.
So don't worry about what other people say, what other vegans say, what meat eaters say to you, what, you know, closed-minded people say to you. Just keep the animals in mind and you'll stay in this movement for life.
And the plan is I'm going to cut from the right-hand side where the rabbits are going to go to, cut from the right-hand side, push the rabbits over to this side, gives Mark more time to shoot the rabbits. That's the plan with a shotgun.
Until this ends, because I will be, okay, because I will be. All right. Thank you very much. Thanks everyone. All right.
Here we are, it's harvest 2014 and I'm lucky enough to be out in the sunshine shooting rabbits in the harvest field. It's certainly one of my favourite pastimes and a passion of mine.